Hello, welcome to my tutorial, and in this tutorial I'm gonna make an animated rocket flame in Maya. And this rocket flame is gonna be geometry based, not a simulation. So it works pretty fast, but it still looks pretty decent. So to get started, I'm gonna make a cylinder and fit it to my model I got here. Something like that, and I can stretch this model a little bit and get rid of the end part, since we're not gonna be able to see that. So the next step will be assigning a material. And for this tutorial I'm gonna use AI standard surface from Arnold, but you could use whatever shader you want. And when you create a new material, you're gonna see this default settings, but we don't really need base and specular, so let's reduce weight all the way down to 0 for both. And what really matters is the emission and the opacity. So we can increase emission weight, and we're going to use an image texture to drive opacity. So let's click on this icon to use a texture, and in this case I'm going to use ramp texture. So if you click on that, you're going to see this, and it's already having effect. So apparently the direction seems to be wrong, so let's swap the position of the black and white colors. And as you slide the white color to the right, you're going to see how it affects the opacity, but it doesn't gradually fade out. That's a problem of the viewport renderer, so we need to see in the actual render views. To do that, I'm gonna select the geometry, and I can go to the shape node of the geometry, and under the Arnold tab you're gonna see opaque, and you should disable it before you go to the render view so you can see the transparency of the object. So when you go to the render view, it's not that apparent, so let's go back to the ramp texture node. And slide the colors to see better effect. Actually, we need to slide the black color here to see the fadings. So there we go. You could change interpolation for even smoother fadings. I think smooth works better, or even spike. I'm gonna go with spike. The next step is to use this texture for the emission color. And to do that, you can go to the hypershade window, and I got other materials, so let me load this material. So I'm gonna load AI standard surface 13, and when you load up your graph network, you can pick your out color from the ramp texture and connect it to emission color. So now the color of the emission is driven by this texture as well. Now we can go back to the ramp texture and change the color of the flame to whatever you want. And if you go to the render view, you're gonna be able to see the effect. Alright. If you want it to be more interesting, you could add some color noise here, something like that. I'm gonna add a little bit of hue noise. Just a little bit. Or you could manually add more colors here. You could start from blue to red. Or something like that, but I would like to go with just one color. Okay, I think I like that. So now we need to animate this geometry to make it look more interesting. So for the animation, I'm going to use the rotation of this geometry. But before we do that, let me modify the geometry a little bit. And I'm going to select all the vertices at the end, and we can go to edit mesh and transform, and I can edit this option here, and you can maximize the randomization here all the way to 1, and if you do that, you can randomly move these vertices, so it makes the shape a bit more interesting. Now you can just scale it up. You can manually modify it like that. And now go to the render view again. You got this type of effect, but you might want it to be more smooth, so let me isolate this for a moment, and I can bevel this edges to keep the sharpness when we smooth it. So I'm gonna add 2 segments there, and now I can smooth this object. Probably you could add 2 or 3 divisions. Now if I go to the render view again, it looks a lot smoother. So now it's time for the actual animation. So for the animation, I'm gonna rotate this randomly by using an expression. I should rotate in this direction. So let's go to the attribute editor. Let me delete the history, by the way, to clean this up. If you go to P cylinder node, you can see what value actually changes. So we need to add an expression on this attribute. So let's create a new expression, and you could copy this attribute here, and you could type rand 0 to 360 or anything like that. It will randomize the value every frame between these values. So if you do that, you're gonna see how it actually works. So let's check this out in the render view. Alright, this is the final result. So this is a very cheap way to make this type of effect without having to do any type of simulation. And yeah, I think this is a pretty decent effect. So that's it for this tutorial, and thanks for watching. Please like this video if you enjoyed this video, and bye.